All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Owarimonogatari, Season 2, Episode 1. Okay, Owarimonogatari is not over. The end is not over.
Right,
Yeah.
but the end is, I guess, here now?
Yeah.
Are we finally in
Yeah.
that stage of this story?
I would guess so. Aragi's dead.
He is dead, and as proof...
but there's no way he's going to stay dead.
Right, because we see him
We've
in Hana.
seen the future, so...
So he's going to come back, but right now, he's dead. Like, he sees Hachikuji. Like, he is gone, which raises some questions.
There's some serious questions that come from that. Yeah. First and foremost, Hachikuji? Hachikuji?
Yeah. And
okay.
You know what's...
Yes?
You know what's so perfect about this,
What?
other than
What's
just being
that?
able to see Hachikuji again?
What's that?
That means that it's a perfect reversal of when they first met.
Right.
Because when they first met, she was lost and he needed to help her find her way back home.
Right.
Now he's lost. And she gets to help him find his way back home. I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen.
I mean, in some ways, like, that's what Hachikuji's role has been in the story ever since Araragi helped her in the very beginning.
Sure.
Is to kind of point him in the right direction.
Give
with
that
her
guidance and
words,
stuff.
with her jokes, with everything, and that's why she's best girl in my opinion. Okay, so we have now just an unprecedented scenario in which Araragi and Hachikuji are going to be in the afterlife of sorts, and interacting. Wonderful, I love it.
Right.
What's going on with Shinobu then?
Yeah. That is kind of something I'm wondering about.
Remember the whole thing that happened when Araragi died in an
Another
alternate
timeline?
and that happened.
Maybe that's part of Gain's plan to get Shinobu to be the god of the shrine, or
okay. I was just like, is Shinobu with Araragi here, or like?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like,
because she was asleep in his shadow when it happened.
Right. So I would think that she would probably go with him. I don't know. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that question, especially being answered.
But amidst all of this, Gain made her play, and Ogi is still out there, and I'm guessing needs to be vanquished. So even though she's been hindered because of Araragi dying.
It'll be interesting to see if, or more when, Araragi comes back to the real world, to the land of the living. If to be fair, this is something that we're assuming based on Hana Monogatari. That is what ended up happening, because Araragi looked changed. He looked different at that time.
The long hair and
he looked like he had grown up to the full measure of what Araragi was. Could be. And now we're in this situation where he's been put into limbo, if you will, right at the last second before graduating. So I love these points in the story where you can, in some ways, like, cheat out an infinite amount of time. Not really, but like in terms of the focus on an individual character, because it's as if for him time is now stopped, and he gets to he gets to focus on everything that matters, everything that's important, and who could be the best guide for him during this time, but my Hachikuji. I'm so excited.
I'm just really hoping we don't see like a funeral scene with Senjigahara grieving or something like that. Like, his body was totally destroyed, so hopefully it would just be that, like, he goes missing for a bit. But
I want to put it out there. I just want to put it out there that they're gonna literally freeze time. Like, that there's not everything that happens in the afterlife, what have you. Takes no time.
I mean, hey.
Yeah.
That could totally happen. I would not be amiss to that. Or is that the right grammar? Anyways.
Yeah. But, okay. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone. We're going to be starting the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Chapter 1.
Okay.
Oh. But then I died. Oh. Oh, contrary to expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
This is also visually gorgeous.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh, buddy.
But that isn't necessarily a bad thing, because despising it could keep you there. Okay, I can already see the beginnings of Araragi the Sage. Yeah.
Like fully coming out.
That's right. This means we get a new Hachikuji OP. Oh.
Nothing has changed. Oh. Oh. But you? Aww. No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. Very fitting as a last line.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
He's like, but do my eyes deceive me?
Right. Right. I know who I am. I know what day it is.
Right.
I know what's going on. Yep. Yep. Whoa.
Because it all happened so fast he didn't even realize he'd been killed.
Yeah.
Is that it? I must be dead. I mean, yeah.
Expectations.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Yeah. Whoa. Okay.
Kill the boy that the man may live.
But that said,
Yeah.
We all are. Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna go back into their old shtick?
Oh.
All right.
And now, upon leaving Atmo, we re-enter.
Back. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh.
And then she finally, bites back. Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
And there you go. But it's true though. Yes.
Wow. And he's holding the light sticks and everything.
Yeah. Oh, that was amazing.
Okay.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. But rather, you've come to me.
Yes, yes. Nani, nani? Whoa.
Okay. So the real question is, why is Hachikuji there?
Okay. Like, I don't deserve to be this far down.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been just walking around, you know?
Oh, yeah. She got lost. See?
Right, yeah. Oh. It's okay, buddy.
Oh.
Jesus, okay. Oh.
So she came here to wait for you? Aww.
No, do you doubt me? I'm really, really fast. That's what it is. Yeah. Nothing to do with that. Oh.
Oh, more Gain manipulation?
Whoa.
Okay. So Gain wanted Araragi to die, and also, I'm guessing, to come back then.
Well, even if Araragi didn't die, Gain loses nothing by telling Hachikuji where to go or when to go to pick him up. Oh, this is cool. This is the art that they used way back when with the
in the EDs.
In the ED, yeah. Okay. Oh, there's subtraction too.
So she...
Ogi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
wait.
Or no.
Hold on.
It's Shinobu.
Oh, right. Because she was in his shadow, so...
Yeah. Or...
Like, did she end up getting killed as well?
Whoa. This is such a cool, like, backdrop for them walking around. Like, the backdrops, yeah. And she knows exactly where to go, even though she was the one that would get lost, you know, before.
A pervert? Oh, no.
Whoa.
Yeah. You wouldn't even have been outside if not for Hanakawa.
Oh. Yeah, but wow, okay. And then like a meteor falling. Whoa. Yeah, it is a very different matter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's good, yeah. And that's not necessarily, you know, the end of the world or anything. Just
All the way back to there?
wow. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That is wonderful. Yeah.
Makes so much sense
right,
too.
Right? Oh.
The dead one that, you know, guides the living.
Oh, we have a time constraint.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. And I'll bet that was mentioned in the light novel too.
Right, right. Of course. Oh, that was amazing. Okay. Balance. Whoa, okay. Please, I don't want to say goodbye to her just yet.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know it's going to happen.
She's not in the frame now. They are. They are. Right, right. Whoa. I love how those paths ended up making a tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Whoa. Whoa. Right.
Hachikuji would know all about that, right?
Yeah. I love Hachikuji so much. Oh. Whoa. Cool.
The guy that was killed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh.
Wait, so we got a lot that episode, but it's so good. It's so good to see Hachikuji again.
Yep.
All right. ED time.
Man, these lyrics.
Huh. That was interesting. We're in the Matrix there. Yeah. Oh. All right, guys, we are in the best timeline in a lot of ways here.
Yes, and no.
And no.
And no.
Yeah, exactly.
Because on the one hand, we get to see Hachikuji again, and it's wonderful. On the other hand, Aragi's dead.
Aragi's dead. However, Hachikuji is here to resurrect him.
That's right.
Hachikuji was placed here by someone that knows everything.
Yeah.
Hachikuji, like, this whole thing goes back to the very, very beginning of the show. Like, we are getting to see behind the curtain even more now.
Yep.
But Hachikuji and Araragi are now together, and
So how bad can things be?
how bad can things be? The saddest part of it probably is just that we might not get much more of Hachikuji.
Yeah, that line that she gave of like, well, we're about up on time, we won't be able to talk too much longer, and then it's like, well, wait, then we don't have to talk about this. We could talk about you, we could like.
But here we are. So Araragi is brought up to speed by Hachikuji, being like, "Hey, buddy, I didn't come to you. You came to me.
Right.
You're dead." And
Let's fix that.
let's get to talking about that. Yeah. So we end up getting her going through a good chunk of Araragi's past, a lot more specifically focused on his beginnings with regards to Bake, and then a little bit of some other stuff as well, and how it kind of ripples out into other stuff. But that kind of beginning section there is kind of going and taking a hard look at a lot of the things in which he was kind of like amazing. Like he kind of helped a lot of people. And there's this theme running throughout the episode of Araragi, you did good.
Yeah.
You did good. You're not omnipotent.
Right.
So of course you didn't do everything perfectly.
But who cares?
Part of life is about like making mistakes is a part of life. That's
right.
That's just what it is.
And you know, good job, kid, because you might not be a sage like me yet, but you did really good. You need to acknowledge that and appreciate that because because I know that other people appreciated it, right? But for some reason, you look back on it and you say, this last 6 months was hell.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Now, to be fair, going back.
There was a lot of stuff that, was rather awful for him.
Right. But also, I would say specifically going back to the last 6 months.
The last 6 months.
He's actually more talking specifically about...
Yeah, that's right, because this is March.
Yeah, exactly. He's not talking about all that stuff back then. He's talking about that little gap of time in between all the Tsubasa stuff.
About the time when Ogi
showed up. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also when Hachikuji left.
Yep.
Like that...
Yep. It's all coming together. Okay, so I think probably my favorite part of this episode is the moment where she basically kind of gives him that little thing of, no, Araragi-san, Araragi-san. And you look back over the show and you see this boy who's been struggling, who's been making tons of friends, who's been just trying to figure stuff out. And yet, like, he is in some ways his own worst enemy in that regard. That I mean, he
literally and figuratively.
In that, a lot of the stuff that's happened, and maybe this is even in some ways part of the genius of the show. Like, I remember when in some ways, like I was in some ways like the biggest critic of Araragi as well. Like the perspective that he takes after that point when Hachikuji, would be gone, then he does become a lot more self-deprecating, self-critical,
right?
Just generally not. His self-talk, if anything, got worse.
It really felt like something where there was maybe regression, even whether it was regression or just with the whole divide by 2, multiply by 2 thing, whether it was all just succeeding the whole time, it didn't seem like that to me, and it didn't seem like that to Araragi. But
God, I really want to rewatch this show in its entirety with the idea of Araragi's thoughts and perspectives being something that's constantly needing to be aware of based on where we are in the timeline overall of the story. Because what I think they're getting at here, is that Araragi has a lot of successes under his belt that he doesn't necessarily spend a lot of time thinking about because his mind at times can drift really quickly to more of the things that didn't go as well as he would have liked, which is not in and of itself a negative thing. It's not a problem to look back at mistakes and go, I wish I would have done that better.
Right.
But dwelling there or spending a lot of time, or the majority of your time focused on that can lead to some issues. And by Hachikuji taking him back through a lot of the moments in Bake, she's not saying just, would you have done anything differently? But it was the thing of like, was there literally anything else that you were willing to do? Are you upset by the decision you make back then? Or do you have any regrets?
Right.
And he's like, no, I don't, actually.
If anything, I wish I had noticed that it was Sengoku when she ran past me. And it's like that tiny little detail, right? And maybe that would have had a big effect on Sengoku. Who knows, right? You know?
Possibly.
But then it's like, well, okay, yeah, cool. But you're not omnipotent. Like, you know, take a page out of Hanakawa's book.
Yep.
You know, like,
oh man, when Hachikuji said that, it almost gave me this feeling of like, whoa, pull back a little bit, and like, imagine if you are a guy like for a second, and be like, wait a minute, Hachikuji being his first real friend in that regard, was that the first lesson that like he needed to be exposed to in that regard? Was that you don't need to do everything perfectly? Because look at this hypocrite here. Look at, like literally in some ways that's the great lie of Hanakawa at that time as she was dealing with all of her stuff.
Sure.
Is that she's pretending in action she knows everything, and then Hanakawa, in words.
Right.
Did I say Hachikuji?
I think you did.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
I was like,
Hanakawa.
wait, Hachikuji, hypocrite.
No.
You better explain yourself, my good man.
No, sorry. Hanakawa basically was to be that visual, just look at things for very visually pleasing in that regard. But it took a while for us as well. But like Araragi to kind of clue into that. Yeah, and he was dealing with his stuff as well at the time. Yeah.
Right. And yet in the midst of all that, right, he meets someone who in their own struggle, right, Hanakawa, is able to acknowledge the importance of, hey, I'm not perfect, right? But at the same time, that's only like a surface acknowledgement that she's not perfect, And then right after that, he meets, this demon, right, in Shinobu. And then he's like, well, you know what? I'm going to save you, right? And maybe it came from that place of not necessarily wanting to save himself, right? But that still happened.
Yep.
And then, from there, keeps going.
Yeah, then the cascade of all these, in some ways, like, what was it? Was it in the OP where she was saying like you do like miracles like 1,000,000,000 odds like you?
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I love about Hachikuji is that in a weird way she is jokingly the most deprecating, I would say, of Araragi.
Oh, okay.
But she is also one of Araragi's biggest fans. Like one of the things that I think the show does rather well is that in some ways everyone is a fan of Araragi. Like take Kambaru for instance. Like she's constantly like lauding him as if he's like her master or something like that, and just like trying to
playful banter.
Right. It's all playful banter. But one of the things that Hachikuji has almost, I would say, like not a monopoly on, but like I would say one of my favorite iterations of in the story is how she balances basically throwing shade at Araragi within the comedy of how she interacts with him, so that when he's in a situation where he's lost or he's needing to like see something there, she kind of just has the perfect vehicle to deliver what that little bit of wisdom is that she's maybe seeing if he'll pick up on by the way she interacts with him.
Yeah, she engages him with the banter that then makes him sort of
receptive.
Open and receptive to when she gives those pearls of wisdom, kind of a thing. Yeah. Whereas a lot of other people will like mention when they're concerned about Araragi and things like that, but oftentimes he won't fully be open to what they're saying.
Right, and it's not necessarily all on him. I think it's that communication styles are something that are different between the characters. And one thing that's just lovely about this show is that the characters actually have very distinctly different communication styles. Thus, they have different success rates with regards to communicating information because that's just how people do. That's how people do be like that. Okay, so we go through all the girls of Bake other than Suruga.
Right.
And stuff with Hanakawa Black and Hanakawa Shiro and all that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah.
Because that's later and stuff.
Post-Bake.
Right, exactly. But we basically cap off with Sengoku. And then there's a very very distinct shift in the conversation when Araragi is going through these kinds of past things, and Hachikuji is kind of, checking with him to be like, hey, would you have done things differently? And we even got that little silly bit of like, hey, how do you feel about getting in the way of Kaiki and Sengoku?
Right.
He's just like, yeah. like right. Yeah. But what I love about that there is that's the selfishness that he could be like critical about, but it's him like, no, it's okay to want things, my dude. It's okay to have those things that you want, desire, need, or what have you, that aren't perfect in the if some other party came in and judged you, would they say that was the right thing to do or something?
Exactly. Like in Hachikuji's case, maybe it's because of some friendly competition or whatever, who knows, but she made the decision to cut Ononoki out of the recap because, production constraints. And she wasn't thinking if someone was going to judge her for it. She just decided to do it, you know, because she thought that was the best option, right?
Yeah, we got enough close-ups with Ononoki.
Exactly, right. Yeah. Who apparently was also the appointed successor, which I love.
I love it so much.
Because there was always that thing of like, which of the three lollies sits atop of the throne of like, like...
I can't with this. Oh my god. Wow.
And then it's like, yes, you shall be my successor. Like, I could totally see Hachikuji in like a full-on like, like crown and like, red robe and everything with a scepter being like, I appoint to thee,
Yeah. And then the advisor in the background with the big kind of like, yes, how do you do, fellow kids energy,
Right, yeah.
All right, so Hachikuji then starts to let Araragi just kind of wax a little bit. And Araragi starts to share some of his thoughts. And one of the things that I thought was rather cool about this being the long walk up to the shrine and stuff like that here is that Araragi ends up thinking about balance. And balance has been like my buzzword for Araragi in like the last 25 discussions. I think I just keep jumping back to it here because it felt like over the course of the recent parts of the story in terms of the timeline recency, but also I would say some of the stuff that they've been focusing on thematically is that Araragi's focus has been about whether or not he's moving towards or away from balance.
Right. And in Hana, when we see him after the sort of events of the show,
he has achieved it.
He has achieved balance. Yeah. Like if there were to be one word for me to use to describe Araragi at that point, it would be Zen, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So once he thinks about that, he's like, you don't have to balance things out like that with something like that, Hachikuji. And he goes, wait, balance. Oh, hold on. That's what was on my mind. And he starts thinking here. And I love that we get this time of him just, his eyes wandering around, thinks about it, and then he goes, the right thing. Oh. And then she's like, wait, what? What was that? Yeah? And he's like, I was thinking about, I once had a debate about something like that.
Oh, yeah, with the Fire Sisters.
And what I love with this is Hachikuji is doing two things here that is just really cool. When she says, "Oh, we're almost there, so if you want to discuss, you keep it short." What she's basically saying is, hone in on this. Focus on what you really want to talk about here because you don't have much.
Don't beat around the bush.
Exactly. But what she's also saying is, I'm not going to take away that time from you. You go and do this. So he initiates the whole conversation here. And she says, because it'll most likely be our final talk session.
Right.
And
in other words, well, you won't have me much longer. Like if Hachikuji is the mentor essentially, right, in Araragi's life and was for a very long time, it's sort of that classic thing of, you know, okay, well, you're growing up. You're going to be out on your own, sort of. You won't have me, so we've got this, and this is great, but make the most of it.
I love the sad little thought in his head of like, well, then I want to talk about something else. Basically,
I want to talk about you.
I want to talk about you,
Yeah.
But he actually continues talking about it, how it's difficult to do the right thing. Most people are more willing to correct a mistake than do the right thing, right? I almost love that this little sentence in some ways is him basically asking Hachikuji to judge and evaluate.
Yeah. Do I need to correct this statement?
Yeah. And then she's like, I'm not gonna tell you whether or not that's right or wrong. She's just,
oh, those are different?
Oh, those are different? Yeah. Asking the perfect question to be like, no, keep talking. He's like, they're similar but different. Not exactly, but pretty close. I love how he then makes the distinction about how it makes people feel like they're doing the right thing by the act of correcting a mistake. And I feel like we as human beings are very much aware of our shortcomings.
Sure.
But one of the things that correcting has a connotation to, and they use the visual thing here with the tracks and stuff like that, is you basically just slightly adjust. There's not a thing of you reversing the track, though.
Oh, right. Because that's because it's the idea of it's just correcting something. It's not redoing something.
Right.
But even if it was, say, redoing something, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you can't, you know, because you can't take back something that was done. You know, time moves forward, and you know, you do one thing, you can't erase it, right?
Right. But you know what? He's also answering his own kind of question then in that regard, just via this whole method of thinking about it. Is one of the things that I was taught growing up is that the reason why a mistake is something that is not as big of a deal is because that's what it is. It's a minor shift in the tracks. All it is you're moving in a direction that is not the way that you were originally going. The more time you spend going the different direction, that's the issue there. If you just immediately address it, it's kind of like the thing of where like people exaggerate the truth constantly. And that's the way in which a lot of people will lie on any given day or something like that. If you catch yourself in the immediate bit of just like, oh, wait, hold on. For some reason, I exaggerated that there.
Yeah.
And you're just like, hey, sorry. What I meant to say was this, but for some reason I said this.
It was actually...
Yeah, it was actually just this big. Exactly. That's not a thing of you seeking perfection or something like that. That's just you having the bit of like, oh, for some reason I did that. But you're not going to beat yourself up about the idea that you just... Oh, I misspoke. Kamimashite, you know?
Right.
Like, I stuttered, you know? That, oh my God, wait, is that even, like... I stuttered. That's kind of what making a mistake is. You just kind of had a stutter step, and you just had a little bit of a hiccup there.
Okay, so now I'm real. Okay, this is...
Wait a minute.
So
okay, this might be a little bit too off base, but...
I don't think it is, and I don't think it's something that we'll necessarily be able to fully unpack and understand yet.
Right.
But this is one of those things that... Like, okay, because people have said like, oh yeah, Monogatari is a great show for like, rewatch,
yeah.
and I've experienced some of that, right?
Right, because we've rewatched like parts of things like Bake and stuff.
Right,
yeah.
But this feels like just additional layers of that being pulled back. The fact that like, you know, Hachikuji maybe was trying to tell him this in her own way, in a way that he could maybe understand through jokes and things like that of, I stuttered, right?
Right.
But then she keeps on making that same mistake. But she doesn't get bothered by it.
No.
Wait
on
a
minute.
Hold on. You know.
Yeah. So the whole pure white or pitch black kind of right thing, I think that this is in some ways the aspect of imbalance. One of the things that you could look at is it goes back in some ways to the whole thing of a fake. Something that is, you know, not revealing just the fact that that I'm not just one color or something like that.
It feels very like Hanekawa to me, with like the whole thing that they talked about, like, you know, black Hanekawa, even though it had the white hair and everything, and you know, the being perfect, but then all of the mistakes, sort of more stresses and everything, you know, that built up over time, and it's like,
Right. It's just either way, in Araragi's perspective here, I don't think that this would necessarily lead to balance. But he's like, I just, that's what I wanted to know. And what I love Hachikuji's basically saying here is like, hey, if you go that route, you won't obtain what you really want. And what's just so insightful here is that this is an example of where she's kind of giving him the, hey, you can
do that
yourself here as well, but you can also just choose that as well. That's not something that's the wrong choice necessarily.
Right.
God,
yeah. It is crazy how much more receptive, like, and I'll not talk about the show or people in general or whatever, but just for myself, when I'm not entirely sure what's the right way to proceed on something, and then someone tells me, oh, you should do this,
right.
Walls closed off, gates up, I don't do it, right? Even if I acknowledge that, I should probably do that, right? I usually don't end up doing it. 99 times out of 100.
Yep. This is one of the things I think a lot of people love about Monogatari, is that the communication style in which all the other characters interact with Araragi is one that they like wish that they would be able to have that kind of a just such a wonderful interaction and engaging conversation with someone who genuinely cares, and thus is able to then not only reach them in the immediate sense, but also then follow up that reaching with good questions and good interactions that helps them come to the points in which they are looking for. But
because when it's something where the person doesn't make any moves to try and force you down a direction, then but they just more inform you of like, well, but wouldn't that mean that this would happen as a result of if you chose that?
Questions,
really. I mean, you can totally choose that. Is that the choice that you want?
Right.
Like looking at that choice for what it is.
Yeah.
Do you want that one? And then for me, that night and day difference will make it so much easier for me to then really actually make a choice and act on that choice rather than just giving mental acknowledgement.
Right. And then there's the whole thing where they kind of seem to call back a little bit to the whole thing of talking where Araragi was talking about reckless shortcuts and pointless detours. And then Hachikuji just drops the big bomb here. It says, because it's based on the premise that someone else is making the evaluation, that way you'll only receive what others give you. Of course, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Yes, that's not a bad thing.
Yep.
Yes. If like you, someone sought something beyond their reach or something they don't deserve, and then it goes through all the shots basically of Hachikuji showing how this next line is so important here.
Yeah.
And such a method would prove to be impossible. And what's so good is basically that at that bit there, we then get Araragi's thoughts about how frustrating it is when you end up constantly bumping into mistakes and stuff like that. You get frustrated, you're stamping your feet, you're just like, God, why can't I just succeed in this here? Right. Trial and error over and over again. But then Hachikuji brings the salve of
the ultimate
glorious
bombshell.
Goodness of saying, but hey, then all you can do is succeed eventually, right?
Yeah.
And there's such a denial of things like urgency, things about like, hey, deadlines, if you will.
Sure, because those things, can definitely cause complications.
Right, yeah, they can cause stress and stuff like that. So in some ways, she's basically saying like, hey, yeah, mistakes and all that, that's going to happen a lot. And eventually, you're going to get to a situation where it'll be really tough to find the way to succeed. And it will lead to a lot of, maybe some rote repetition, some really tough parts and stuff like that. And you might have to get help from others. But, after going through that process...
Aren't you already succeeding?
Not only aren't you already succeeding, but the only thing left is success, right?
Right. Because, if it continues longer and it takes you a while to get there, sure, but...
Yeah.
All roads lead to Rome, right? Like...
Yeah. I think that it's one that, because of how many times and this is probably the thing that I think is the part that I could see myself getting into a lot of debates with people, because I have areas in my own life which I could see myself drawing a worldview surrounding the idea of the dangers of failing on something that I was never meant to succeed at.
Okay.
And that is something I think a lot of people have a very specific kind of set of feelings and thoughts regarding, is that Hachikuji is not saying everything is possible if you just kind of try at it. Like that's
right, but it's more that trying at something is succeeding in a way. Like
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what she's basically saying is that there are going to be parts where you would, bump into something that is essentially impossible, but the actual act in there is where, the success will come from.
Right. Failure isn't something to be scared about.
Exactly.
Just like, say, mispronouncing a name isn't anything to be worried about.
Yeah, or, exams.
Sure.
End of high school.
Yeah, your future and everything.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A relationship, friends.
Sure.
All that. It's gonna be okay, buddy. You're doing great. And then there's like these cracks in the roof as if like the light is just like starting to barely come through there. And there's the whole thing of, someone else doing the evaluation thing, which is great. And then Araragi gives like one of the like, oh wow, buddy, that is, I love that. I love when the language and verbiage used in the dialogue is one that almost immediately pops out to me as something like, wow, thank you. Him using the double negative, it's not like I didn't particularly want to talk about myself here. Because sometimes when the voice acting happens a specific way, I can't follow the Japanese intonations of which areas of the dialogue is getting the emphasis and which parts are the ones that I should be.
Right. Especially in something like Monogatari, where the images that are being used are changing very quickly. It's like which image is being timed with what part of a line or something like that.
Yeah. And then after that, he's like, well, maybe that's the case. No, that's how it should be. And that little bit of dialogue, God, that almost makes me want to cry, because what's in there is that's so much inner conflict. That's so much thing about like, when you push two magnets together,
and they just nope,
and they have the similar poles, and they just, and it's basically him realizing like, I want to go this way with this, but I've set up a magnet here that doesn't let that happen. All I need to do is just flip it, and it clicks immediately. And sorry, guys, that was really loud. Wow, sorry.
And Hachikuji sees that and is like, there it is. And then you just said you weren't talking about yourself, and it's like, then who were you talking about?
Who are you talking about? And he's just like, And he does the thing of like, okay, I'm a smart guy. I can figure this out. Who was I talking about? And, no. Ogi. Yep. Why didn't her name cross my mind until right now? Why couldn't I remember? Isn't that a bit strange? She was the most important person in the second half of my past year. In some ways, maybe dying caused everything to collapse down mathematically. Maybe there was some subtraction involved.
Well, yeah, the subtraction thing, like, at first, I was thinking, like, okay, Ogi, and then Shinobu showed up, but then it's like, okay, that's part of the recap of, like, going through his journey, so maybe that's not it, but then, so Ogi, if he's now separated from Ogi, maybe then he can deal with Ogi. But one of the things I'm very curious about, though, is this guy that shows up at the end.
Yeah, we went back to check his name because we did forget, but it was Taratsuru.
Right. Now, okay.
This is where he died from being blasted by...
Right.
Oh, wait, actually, no, he was at the other shrine. Yeah, he was at the one that Sengoku ended up coming to, the big one.
Isn't that the same one? It was just wrecked here? Or, maybe it is a different one.
No, this is a different one. This is where... Right.
Okay.
There's the grand one, right? With the whole rectangle full everything there.
For some reason, I thought that was just this one repaired.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it is, but
gotcha.
Well, yeah, we'll go back and check again. But he's here, and it's kind of fun because last time we saw him in the real world, he was kind of ghostly.
Yeah.
And now here in the land of the dead, he's looking quite corporeal there.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's curious.
All right. I just love that we're pulling everything. We're pulling everything back together here, y'all. This feels like the finale season for sure now. Like
Owari means end.
Yeah. So
like, it did feel kind of weird when it's like Owari. But wait, we're not at the end of the show yet.
Right, exactly.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Here we are.
We've gone and done a little bit of the recap through the past with, Owarimonogatari. We've done now a little bit more targeted stuff with Hachikuji with regards to talking about areas in which you've had successes, you've had failures, you've had things that just happened. Do you look back on it and think you would change anything? Would you you regret anything? No. Okay, maybe a little bit with Sengoku, but you actually did fine. You did great. Now, here we are. Hachikuji's final interaction with Araragi. Yep. I'm not ready for that. I'm really not ready for that. So hopefully this guy can make things into a bigger conversation in general. He can maybe bring up some stuff with Gain.
Maybe a way to defeat Ogi. Who knows?
Yeah, if anything, I think he's going to be instrumental in the resurrection part specifically.
Gotcha. Because he was the one that was that specialized in dealing with the immortal aberrations.
Right.
So
he
curious.
might know some things about how
that
immortality works, or not just that, but coming back from death after an immortal being has died, essentially.
Yeah.
So guys, as a first episode for a next arc, if you will. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Excellent.
Incredible stuff.
Starting it off with Hachikuji and having it basically just be Hachikuji and Araragi, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah. The comedy was glorious. The set kind of art backdrops of them going through hell, basically, were just wonderful. There was so much there. This is definitely going to be one of those ones where, because I'm personally a huge fan of Hachikuji, where I'm going to go back and rewatch this one a bunch. And especially the next one as well, if it's the final Hachikuji.
The final.
One. With her. But yeah, that's all I think we're going to do for discussion on this one. I think there was a bit more that we could have gotten into with regards to the stuff with Hanakawa and Senjugahara and stuff, in the recap there. But guys, this is so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch the next one, but if you want to see the next episode's reaction discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there, and any level support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and you can also talk with Jacob about the sci-fi novel that he wrote.
Yep. Wrote a book called Battle Lines. It's on Amazon. If sci-fi is something that you're interested in, go check it out. Link is in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.